Hey everyone, it's so good to see you at AsyncAPI Conference. I am Karuna and my topic is Let Me In, open the doors of your organization for student contributors. Let me just quickly introduce myself. Hey, I'm Karuna and I am a coach at Major League Hacking and a technical writer at AsyncAPI and as a part of GSOD. GSOD is short for Google Season of Dogs, and I have been contributing to a AsyncAPI apart from GSOD too. And I have been part of multiple student communities and open source organizations. Also, I have done lots of events in the past, and I have been like streaming on YouTube, doing uh, lots of podcasts and Twitter spaces. And fun fact, I like drawing anime characters. Now, before we get into the real part of this session, let me ask you one question. What is open source? Now, I think a lot of you might know what is open source, but still, let me explain. You can see this meme right here saying open source programmers and they are just lifting up the society. Now, what does that mean? Uh, I'll say because we might be using a lot of open source tools. You might even like not know about it. Let's say there is Firefox, there's VLC editor, video editor, and there are a lot of tools, right? And all these are developed by open source contributors and open source maintainers. Now, if you want to become this open source programmer who's lifting up the society, what I will recommend is contribute to open source. Now, you will say, why should I contribute to it? Just because, I do not want to be a hero, I'm fine being a normal person. Then you might want to reconsider that because it helps you in a lot of ways. Let's say you are using an open source tool and it keeps on crashing and you might be wondering why, and you can do a great job by reporting bugs on GitHub issues. Let's say VLC has its own repo on GitHub. You can just head on if it crashes sometimes or you see some issues happening on VLC. You can just go onto the repo, raise an issue, and that issue will be fixed in no time because a lot of contributors and maintainers see those issues, keep track of it, and those issues won't be like that. Like closed source, what happens in closed source is if you wanna report a bug saying that hey, my Google Chrome keeps on crashing, but you can't see the code of Google Chrome, and you just have to send a report to them saying it keeps on crashing. Now you don't know how much time it will take for them to ship the next patch because only few people will be working in that group. So in GitHub, in open source, you don't have to do that. You can just go on to the repository and say there is a bug, and then making meaningful contributions to open source software. This leads to like elevate your skills, and you can make it better. Like let's say if I know Python and I wanna contribute to Python related software or tools, i I might not know some concepts, and then I go on discover some concepts in the repository, and I will ask, hey, how can I do this? They To the maintainer, and the maintainers might reply, hey, you can check out these resources you have, and then I will learn that concept, and then I will make my contribution go live, right? This can be a great opportunity to put your skills and see that you can grow a lot more in open source. And also this puts your work in public, like open source is viewed by everyone, right? So whenever you are contributing to an open source, you can see that these are my issues, these are the pull requests, these are the files which I changed, or this is the code. You can also show it to your job you can also show it on your job resume, or you can show it to your HRs, or any technical interviews. You can just say, hey, I have done this before. So this helps you a lot. And then getting started in open source is a great way So one thing I'll tell you, if you have never ever contributed to open source, you can just do fixing typos. Like lot of open source contributors who are maintainers now or GitHub stars now started somewhere, right? Even I started somewhere. So you might be thinking they are already great, they know so many things. It's not like that. Everyone gets started at some point. So fixing typos in documentations or readmes or in code, if you see it, you can just like ship a pull request, and that's a great way to get started. You will know how git works, github works. You will like collaborate with others saying, hey, I made this. You will get to know like how to comment, what languages you should use, what are the do's and do nots. So you can just go ahead and do that. Now, I'll be talking about some problems which I see where students face while contributing to open source projects. Let's say one student like done everything like they did fixing typos or finding good first issues and doing it, but they still find it hard, like not finding right projects to contribute to. So these are some questions which I get on daily basis, or let's say this is just repetitive questions which I get every time from all of those students. So tell me, how did you get into open source or communities? Beginner friendly projects are not really friendly. And then what language did you learn? So how did you get into open sources? Just by getting into it. uh, I mean, once you get started in it, start having conversations with them in Discord or in Slack or whatever platform the organization uses. Let's say I'm contributing to Async API, and in the start, I might not know what conversation to start. So I might pick an issue which is labeled as good first issue, and then I will contribute, make a PR to it, and they might say, hey, these are the changes, and the conversation goes on. And what you can do is you can just hop onto the Slack or Discord and start a conversation saying, hey, I fixed this PR, but do we have any more issues, or do we have anything else where I can contribute to? If you are into design or if you are into code, they have everything for that. So that's not a problem. And then beginner friendly projects are not really friendly. Yes, I have seen those projects. And I mean, if you look from the point of view of a beginner where you don't know code or you don't know how to like talk to maintainers or comment out or something, then you might see this big repository with lot of files, folders, and all of the code everywhere. And you might find it really difficult to do that. But let me tell you one thing, even if you see a really big repository with lot of files, folders, and stuff, you can just go on to uh, picking up like good first issues and see that there might be few comments already left by the maintainer saying that this is a good first issue and this can be solved in this way. Even if you do not get how to solve it, you can just comment there that I am stuck here. Will you please tell me how to solve this part, right? And what language did I learn? Does not matter really, because each and every organization has its own language, own tech stack. So um, I'll say that when you are picking a project, or if you are just really interested in doing that project, then you might have to learn the language, or you might have to know the concepts which you already like know in other language, and then convert it to, let's say I know Python and I want to convert these concepts which I learn in Python to JavaScript because I'm contributing to a project with JavaScript right now. So these are some changes you might have to do it, because if you want to contribute it, you have to make sure that you know everything regarding to that project. And solution for this, as I mentioned, good first issue and Hacktoberfest labels. If you don't know, Hacktoberfest is a month-long uh, open source program where anyone can come and contribute to open source, and they have projects listed out there on their website, and then you have to just make uh, three pull requests, and You get swag as in t-shirts like this, or anything regarding to that. So if you do a contribution to an open source organization with Hacktoberfest label, then you get swag, and that's a great motivation for you to get started. And here's a comment of AsyncAPI from someone from AsyncAPI saying that they don't mind having a contributor doing that issue or giving that pull request. So this is also a great way to make your organization inclusive. Like every time a maintainer comes and says, no, this issue is only done by the core people, or this issue is just meant for these people and you are not welcome to do it, that makes your organization not very inclusive and closed. So it just looks like a very exclusive organization. And as you can see in the comments, so the they don't mind having a contributor do the work for them if they want to, and this makes it really amazing to look at. And then we have few more resources listed out here, which is upforgrads.net. So this repository is meant for new contributors only, and you can see all the issues or repositories where they have uh, things for new contributors to get started in open source. And then first timers only is another resource just like up for grabs. You might want to check it out and do Hacktoberfest because it's still going on. And as I speak, Hacktoberfest is like half completed. Some people might have even gotten mail saying that, hey, your 3 pull requests are merged. So if you are still not doing Hacktoberfest, go join it right now. Here's another meme. So all your open source contribution is type of pull request, but this helps a lot because some typos do not look good in any code or in documentation, so it's still a valid um, open source contribution. Another problem which I see here is organizations not being inclusive, just as I talked in my previous slide. So you can see here are a few organizations which I find really, really inclusive. One is EddieHub community. This is really inclusive, and like they also promote speaking inclusive language in their own Discord server. They had a bot actually where um, if you write some non-inclusive language, the bot flags you out and says, "Hey, this is not inclusive." And once you edit your message, the bot message goes away. It's I really like that bot, and it makes people like get used to it. Once let's say I make mistakes twice saying some non-inclusive language and the bot flags me out 2 times 3 times, and like fourth time I'll get used to it, like slowly saying, oh yay, I learned inclusive language, and I'll start using it everywhere, regardless if the bot flags me or not. I'll still use it everywhere. Also, here are a few another comments saying that some contributor contribute like come and say, can I work on this issue? And they say no need to ask for my permission, you can just go ahead. This is like really great way to make contributors welcome in your issues or like that. And then I had a contribution. I was making contribution to Async API, which is like the issue was outside of GSOT program, and I wanted to contribute to it because I found it interesting. And then they were getting started there, making the ambassador program page. So I wanted to make that page correctly, and I did what I like understood uh, from previous TSC page. So I just copied, pasted it, and then changed few context or text. And then people started giving on reviews one after the other, saying that, hey, this could be like that. And other maintainers hop on and say that, hey, if you don't know how to do it, would you like us to show to you? Like, would you like to hop on a call and show it to you? They help us a lot, saying this like makes a contributor feel welcome, and at the same time it does not make a contributor feel like they haven't they don't have the knowledge or they can't contribute to it. So this is a great way to say that a maintainer of an organization saying that we will help you even if you don't know. We have people who can help you. Here are the mentors, or here are like people who can guide you into this stuff. That's a great way to make your organization inclusive. And another problem I see is losing motivation or direction. So, where does this come from? Losing motivation or direction. So we all know that open source is voluntary, right? So people just come and do it. No one's getting paid for it, or no one's really taking it very seriously. Like, it's not their full time job. It should like it should be great if open source was full time job, but it's not like that. People have their bills to pay, and for most of the people I know, it's not a full time. So they just do it for community, or they just do it for their projects which are running on, right? So as for students, we have lot of things to like focus on. We have academics, we have open source work, and we might have some other coursework, or we have to like get 10 on 10 on in every subject and then graduate or look for jobs. So there are a lot of pressure on students. So in this, open source might just go in a side and sit there, and we might not even think about it anymore. So uh, like what makes us lose this direction is all of these pressures. And what can we as an organization do to help these students make a proper contribution, and then also cheer them up as a motivation? Here's the solution. Again, few memes saying that we might buy a $3,000 laptop, but $5,000 open source donation is like, no way, I'm not doing that. And open source developers do not get paid. They might be contributing to a lot of stuff, and uh, making your tools better and better, but they do not get paid. And this way, like, we lose motivation to do that after some time, because we have jobs which pay us. Then why would you do open source, right? For students, I'll say swags are some kind of motivation. Let's say they get stickers, or let's say they get t-shirts. After some point of time, those things are a little meaningless, and then we come to a point where we have to look for a job or pay our bills. Or if some student wants to do a course, they might want to pay for it, but they do not have the right resources or things to pay for it. So GitHub sponsors is such program where you can sponsor a student if they are doing a really great job in open source, and this will help them in a lot of ways, right? And also, there are some programs like GSOD where your organizations like AsyncAPI hire technical writers, and then Google pays them at the end of the time period, so that they can just come and say that we contributed here, and then Google pays them, right? This is a great way. And another thing is, we have Google Summer of Code, which is similar to GSOD, but it's not about documentation, it's about code. So you write a proposal to the open source organization and to the project, saying that, hey, I can help with this. This is the feature I propose, and if you get selected, you can start with your code contributions, and you can learn a lot of skills. You can make a lot of connections, networks, and then in the end you get paid. So this also helps you in the job perspective, plus you can pay your bills. So this is a great way. And there are a lot of other programs where you get paid. So if you might want to explore it, you should. Because, and as I told, that GitHub sponsors is another great way, where if you think someone's doing good, you can just go on and sponsor them. This little donation will help them a lot in growing, right? And if you are wondering, after hearing all these problems and solutions, saying, how can I bring the change to my open source organization? Like, how can I be inclusive? Uh, it's not really hard to do it, because once you start adapting to the ideas, then your organization will grow in no time, and you'll get a lot more contributors than you do today. So first point, add a code of conduct. Now, code of conduct clarifies organization's mission and vision, and it also tells you that this organization is a safe place for everyone, and it shows that the standards of professionalism. Also, it articulates the values of your organization, and so it tells all the contributors that this is the desired behavior, and if you go out of it, you might not get to contribute to open source. So uh, code of adding a code of conduct is a great way to tell people about your open source organization, and also to make contributors aware that if someone goes out of their way and like violates code of conduct, we will take action against them. So that, and eradicating problematic language from open source code and documentation. There's an article by Red Hat where they say that the problematic language is becoming a non-inclusive for everyone, and they should remove it, and they are taking action on it for like in code and also in documentation. So this makes our organization more inclusive. Next is ask, don't tell. This is for contributors and also maintainers. Let's say you should not tell people something to do. You should just ask them or request them politely, saying that, hey, I made this pull request. If you are like this, if this is a valid contribution, could you please merge it? This is not the right way of asking, saying that, hey, merge my pull request. Hey, merge my pull request. Or they can just spam your comment section by saying, hey, merge. And that's not a great way. So you don't tell anyone to do. You just ask them so that you will get reviews on it, or you get feedback on it, saying next time you can do better, or next time you can use like contribute on this issue, and you get feedback like that. So, and another thing is being specific. Now, this helps in a lot of ways, because one thing I see is if you are not specific, people might get confused. Let's say I have a problem regarding something ABC, and then I might just text the maintainer, or just hop onto the Discord server and say, uh, hey, I made this PR. Could you help me out? This is a really vague way to put your problem out there. So you should be specific in defining what your problem is. So when you hop onto Discord saying that, hey, this is my PR, link the PR or say the PR number. And then you come to the point where I'm stuck at this point. I do not understand this. You can be very specific. This saves the lot of time of you and the time of the maintainer, like, or any mentor who guides you, right? So if you are specific, you get the solution to the proper thing where you are stuck at. If you are not specific, then you might get a vague answer just like that, or they might not even uh, make an effort to solve your problem. Then next is explain yourself. If you are making a pull request, then you should know that you can paste before and after screenshots if it's a code or documentation contribution, or if it's a UI UX design contribution, then you can explain what you have done properly in a great way, so that this helps in merging PRs very quickly, and this makes the work of the maintainer easier, right? And offer solutions. If you see an issue which is like stuck from a very long time and you know how to solve it, offer them saying that, hey, I worked on the same problem last time, or I did a PR similar to this, and link the PR, or write like, I have written a blog on this problem. I think I can help you, and then say you can do XYZ steps. And they might give you a chance to like contribute to their organization, and it might end up being a great contribution to the organization, right? And then have diversity. I like this point of in async API, where like when I was interviewing for my GSOT, and I saw the document of the, like, in the GitHub repo they wrote, we do not want to be a barrier for any of the technical writers, and everyone is welcome to interview. They got 200 applications, but still they like did not leave the applications in between saying, oh, they won't make it, they won't make it, and they did not do that. They took all the interviews of 200 people, and it's very diverse community. Let's say, like, I'm coming from some different background, and some other contributors are coming from a different background. So it's just not like everyone's like great at technical writing, or they have a PhD degree or something. We came from very different backgrounds, and then they thought, so this diversity uh, makes community very inclusive. And also, I would like to mention that AsyncAPI did not let other contributors who like interviewed for this sort go away. They said they have another program called mentorship session. So once the GSOD interviews were over and technical writers were selected, they launched another program for mentorship, and saying that the other people who did not get into GSOD, they can check out these mentorship program which we launched, and they can still contribute to it. Right? This is a great way to keep your contributors in your organization. And then setting up a wiki or repo where people can contribute their ideas or offer suggestions. Nowadays, people don't use wikis much, I think, but there is a feature called discussions by GitHub. So if your organization have a discussions tab, please make sure you use it properly, because many contributors can come and leave their ideas or suggestions. Let's say you start a discussion saying AsyncAPI conference. Now you will see like many of the contributors commented and shared their ideas and saying that this time works, this does not, or they just gave to make this event a success, gave ideas to make this event a success. So that is also a great way to make your contributors keep getting involved in your organization. And then thank you for listening to my talk, and ending with a small meme: fixing app breaking bugs versus fixing typos in documentation. You get started with fixing typos in documentation, and there's no shame in it. Like, you can just go ahead and do that one. You can just find one typo in a sync API repo already and then fix it. So you can get started in open source right now and right here, right? So thank you so much, and bye.